welcome note to our guests. Thank you, ma'am.
Thanks, Dipakshi. On behalf of Ministry of Education, I welcome all our esteemed panelists, moderator, keynote speakers, and all our esteemed participants. This is our annual exercise that under the aegis of Ministry of Education is trying to propagate the tenets of NEP. Today's session is about the sustainability and employment in education and industry academia connect. As we know that we are progressing for Amrit Bharat, Amrit Kal, and linkage of education with its employability will go a long way to realize that dream. In that, the connect between the academy and the industry and the education will play a paramount role. With that, I would then request our moderator, sir, to kindly take over the session and start the panel discussion. Thank you. Professor Jagdish, thank you.
Namaskar to all the participants in this morning session. The background to this session has already been given by my colleagues from the Ministry of Education, and the panelists, the keynote speaker, they have also been introduced. I think let us straight get into the activities related to this session. Our objective is very clear. We want to discuss on the importance of sustainability in education, the job opportunities, the industry academia collaboration, and related issues. We all have this big question in front of us. How do we build a future that we all want? And that is the future where everybody is happy, healthy, and contributing to the development of the society. But as the world population grows, every individual on this earth, they would like to have clean and cheap energy available to them. They would like to have food security. They would like to have water security, access to better health systems, access to good education. So the challenge for us is, how do we realize this goal? Obviously, the human activities that we all carry out are constantly exploiting the natural resources that we have. And in the process, to fulfill our economic goals, our societal goals, we are extracting so much from the nature that it is becoming for the nature to replenish what we have been taking away. And that is where building a balance between our desire to economically grow, our desire to socially grow, and at the same time, how do we ensure that we live in harmony with the nature? And because that focus was lost during the Industrial Revolution and later, today we are seeing all the challenges that we experience, such as the environmental degradation, the climate change, the damage to the biodiversity that we are all causing. And that's the reason why we now think about how do we live in harmony with the nature while we would like to provide the things that I mentioned which are required for the human society. And that is where sustainability becomes very, very important. Sustainability in all our activities, sustainability in our living, in our everyday living, these issues become central to our living. And how do we introduce these concepts right from childhood, right from the time when the student is studying in higher educational institutions, so that when they come out of these educational institutions and contribute to the societal growth, these ideas are ingrained in their minds, that constantly look at the sustainability part of all my activities when I am interacting with the external world. To discuss these and various other things that are required to be introduced in our educational curriculum, we have distinguished panelists with us. So in today's program, we will begin with a keynote address by Professor Rangan Banerjee, and then I will request the panelists to briefly put their ideas forward in about 4 minutes. Professor Rangan Banerjee will have 12 minutes and my panelists will have 4 minutes each, and then we would like to have a close interaction with you. The suggestions and the challenges that we will face in bringing changes to our educational curriculum so that our students will keep sustainability as a primary idea in their minds while they are studying in the educational institutions and while they contribute to the society as good citizens. So with those comments, I would like to now invite Professor Rangan Banerjee to make his presentation.
Put it on. Good morning, and I'd like to thank the Ministry and Professor Jagdish Kumar for this opportunity. Professor Jagdish Kumar told me 15 minutes, but I just heard that he's cut down the time to 12 minutes. So we'll start off by, how many of you are from higher educational institutions? Raise your hand. Okay. How many from schools? Okay, great. I'm going to focus mostly on higher educational institutions, but please, many of the things will be relevant to schools also. How many of you have undergraduate programs or postgraduate programs related to sustainability, energy or climate? Please raise your hands. Okay, there are relatively few. Okay, so I've been asked to give a quick overview, and I'm going to do this in the next 12 to 15 minutes, depending on the chair's consent. I'm going to give you many of you already have an idea of what is sustainability, but as a setting the context, it would be good to sort of review that. So we start off with the definition of sustainable development as development that meets the needs of the present without compromising the ability of future generations to meet their own needs, which means that every individual in the future should enjoy at least the same quality of life that we enjoy. That means we want to have a development without cheating our children and our grandchildren. Okay? So the question is, how many of you believe that today's development trajectory is not sustainable? How many believe it's not sustainable? Most people do believe that. I'll show you. And we have the Sustainable Development Goals of the UNDP, and you have seen this. These are driving our goals till 2030. There are 17 SDGs, and I'm not going to go into details of that. But if you look at the history of human development, you will see that in the past few decades, a whole host of it starts with population growth. And as you know, population growth, dP by dt is proportional to P, so that's exponential. And every individual, we start using resources for our own benefit. So everything else that you see, when you look at water use or everything, it's an exponential growth. When you integrate that, you see that it is unbounded. It means infinite resources. Very clearly, this is not something which is sustainable into the future. So you can look at this paper. It's a little old paper. It's a 2009 paper in Nature, which talks about the planet and how can you make a safe operating space for humanity. So I just focus on there are the researchers Rockstrom and his colleagues identified a whole set of parameters and then narrowed down on 9. And of the 9, said 3 where already we are exceeding the planetary boundaries. And one of them is basically where we look at the climate change and the greenhouse gases. And I'll focus a little bit on that. You can look at the evidence of this. As far as we know, the Earth is the only planet where there is life. And the reason for that is the temperatures that we've had. This axis, this graph shows you from 0 going backwards to 100,000 years. And you will see in the last 3,000 years, we've had relatively stable temperatures. This period is called the Holocene by the geologists. And today, we are seeing a new phenomena called the Anthropocene. Changes caused by human activity. Evidence of that, you can see here, the CO2 in the atmosphere in the first 700 years, if you see, equilibrium, 200 and, you'll see that it's the 270, 280 parts per million by volume. After that, it is growing exponentially with the use of coal, the Industrial Revolution, coal, oil, natural gas. And this is what is seen in terms of, you can see this is the actual data from the observatory. You can see the CO2 going up, and this is driving the changes in our energy systems today. This is a classic case of the tragedy of the commons, because everyone is using energy, using fossil fuels. The impact is felt on the globe. So you can use, and the commons is basically the atmosphere and the common and the environment. And so we have the Intergovernmental Panel for Climate Change, which is looking at how we can manage these commons. We have a historical, if you look back at the scriptures, you will see that there is clear mention in the scriptures where we are in harmony with nature, with the earth, with water, and this is the basis of our projection in Paris, which we made, and where we said we'll reduce the emission intensity, we'll create 40% non-cumulative fossil power, additional carbon sink, and subsequently our Prime Minister in COP26 had laid even more ambitious targets, and we are on our way to meeting these targets, 500 gigawatt of non-fossil power, and by 2070 we will go to net zero carbon. So what are the elements of the transition? We are moving away from coal, oil, natural gas. We are changing the supply mix. We are focusing on energy efficiency. In the transport sector, we are moving away from oil, looking at electric, looking at hydrogen. Cooking energy, we've moved from traditional fuels to LPG because of health effects. Now the question is, can we move that to electricity, modern biomass? We're looking at buildings, each building becoming net zero or energy plus. We're looking at our industry where we can make products which are efficient, use renewables, carbon capture storage, and create next generation processes. This is a possible trajectory where we could go to net zero, and I'm not going to spend too much time on this, but multiple ways are there in which we can look at the transitions. If you look at the jobs, and this is part of the World Economic Assessment of the future of jobs, you can see very clearly that sustainability and sustainable jobs, they analyzed all the LinkedIn jobs postings on LinkedIn for 5 years, and the top 5 jobs were related to sustainability in the top 20. And you can see the fastest growing job roles, 2 of these are sustainability analyst and sustainability manager. So whether or not you take a job in this, any job that you do, you need to be aware about sustainability. What are the implications? When we talk about sustainability, it is an economic sustainability, it is in terms of energy, it is in terms of emissions, it is in terms of land, water, materials availability, and then socio-economic impact and equity. And each of these has different dimensions, so it's not just an engineering or a science problem, it affects every subject that we teach. So what does it mean in terms for our higher educational institution? The first is in terms of curriculum. We need to look at giving in the core aspects of sustainability, concepts and analysis to all our students. We also need to assess the curriculum that we have in different fields to see how the courses and the skills have to be changed for the future transition. We need to offer new specialized UG, PG courses. For instance, we have started in our Abu Dhabi campus a MTech in Energy Transitions and Sustainability, and actually it is funded by the oil company of the Abu Dhabi. We could also have minor in energy, climate, water sustainability. All of these are multidisciplinary. We can think in terms of making our campus net zero. We can have many energy technology and system demonstrators. We can have student challenges like the Solar Decathlon, Formula One, Ideas for Life. And then we have to incentivize our students, our faculty and researchers to look at innovation and incubation, to look at sustainable products and systems for the future. We also need to retrain the existing workforce, and that is also something which the academia has to play a role in. I'm going to give you quick glimpses of some research from IIT Delhi. We've developed limestone calcium clay cement, and this has 50% of the CO2 footprint of normal cement. This has been tried in field studies across the world in 25 countries, and we're looking at ways in which most of the cement manufacture can move towards this. Another one where we look at coal to methanol, we've combined with Thermax and funded by the DST. It's a pilot plant which goes to coal to methanol, and the idea is to scale this up and also to look at it with CO2 management and then looking at it for hydrogen production. So that's the next stage of the product, and it's a pure chemical process plant. We can also look at various aspects like air quality, air pollution, and the impact on renewables. So there are a whole host of different research topics. I'll give you some examples of things that we could do. We can think in terms of technology, new production processes, looking at intelligence and AI, resilience and redundancy, reliability and robustness. Extreme events are always there. Improved forecasting when we have renewables, demand response, looking at designer materials and eco-design, redesigning our products and systems so that in the life cycle the impact is less. Climate adaptation, resilience, and also modification of behavior patterns, and on a variety of consumption, overconsumption. COVID forced us to work from home, and based on that, new different modes of working have also come, reduction of travel. So there is a whole world of opportunities and challenges out there, and we in the educational sector need to actually see that the future generations that we train have the skill sets required to ensure that we can build a sustainable future. These are some of the references. Thank you. I hope I'm stuck to time.
Thank you, Professor Rangan Banerjee, for sticking to your time. Next, I would like to invite Professor Nilima Gupta. Ma'am, you have 240 seconds.
A very good morning to all of you. I'll be very brief and talking about sustainability. I think that Dr. Banerjee has stressed a lot about the sustainability of the environment, which I think that it is really very necessary. There are three other things which we are talking about. That is the sustainability of the curriculum. And I think the UGC has played a very important role in devising the curriculum, especially with respect to NEP 2020, and in adopting this curriculum, which I feel that many of the universities have adopted it already or they are in the phase of adoption. I think we can have a sustainable curriculum in the entire country. when we talk about the job prospects, I think that skill education has a very important role to play, because if we have skill-based education in our universities, I am sure that the students or the graduates which we are producing out, they do not have simply a degree in their hand, but also the skill. And finally, if we talk about the academia industry collaboration, then this also is very important, because right now I feel that it is rather a one-way approach, where the universities are trying to approach the industries, but it is not equal the other way itself. So we have to look into this type of partnership, which I feel that it needs the maximum focus, so that the academia, that is the universities, and the industries, they can collaborate together. And I think that if this bond is strong enough, then it is not only that the academia which will become sustainable, but it is also the skill-based education which is going to become sustainable, and also we can incorporate it in our curriculum. Thank you very much. All the best.
Next we have Shri Vikas Rastogi.
Good morning. It's good to be back here in Akhil Bharatiya Shiksha Samagam and see in last 1 year what all initiatives have been taken. A glimpse was given in the morning, and we'll see probably more of it during the sessions. In Maharashtra, we made a beginning last year by introducing NEP and the curriculum framework in all the autonomous colleges. And this year, we have done it for all the UG and PG program across the state. That also has allowed us to experiment and realize the power of flexibility that the curriculum framework allows. And in that context, I would like to mention what Chairman Sir and Dr. Banerjee mentioned, how to inculcate the aspects of sustainability in our students. We made a beginning last year by partnering with the UNICEF and institutions like Aquadam, CE, etc. And the idea was Maharashtra, which has almost 40% of the taluka which are drought prone. So water scarcity is a huge issue. Water literacy and how do we conserve water remains a challenge before all of us. Now we wanted this to be included in the curriculum itself. So UNICEF came up with a set of resource institutions, and we created a youth engagement and water stewardship program for UG program, as well as could be done for school as well. It's an online portal, it's free of cost for anybody, but many colleges have now decided to include it in the curriculum itself and give 2 credit for that. This could be under the value education, it could be in the community connect. There are 5 modules. One is climate action and water. These are 2 compulsory modules. And there are 3 others, which is waste and energy and biodiversity. Students can take any of them as per their choice. More than 140,000 students have completed the course, and its certificate is being given jointly by the Government of Maharashtra and UNICEF. And this includes, it's a learning management system, which includes access to various kind of online references, media as well. And there is also an assessment built in, so you get a certificate at the end of it. In case it is a credited program, then of course you get a grade as well. More than 7 lakh students have been reached through this portal. 140,000 have completed a certificate program, certificate course, and many colleges have actually started including it in their curriculum itself, and we are encouraging that. We have also set up green clubs in 1,500 colleges across Maharashtra, and the idea of green club is to encourage information sharing, knowledge sharing, understand what are the problems the community faces, especially related to waste, water, energy, and biodiversity, and do some kind of case studies, which again will be a credited course. And this will ensure that students inculcate those concepts right from the beginning. So whichever organization they go to, whatever profession they choose in, they will have a kind of understanding of what we are talking about. whenever an organization takes up sustainability as one of the core values, the employees, the stakeholders have to be a part of it. They must buy the idea. Now, if our students are exposed to these things, if they have tried something, if they have discussed it with their colleagues and peers, then they would be able to buy that idea and actually execute it. Doesn't remain a diktat from the top or one of the management's core priorities which everybody has to fall in line. So our idea was that students should feel, should understand, and should be responsible citizens with some of these core ideas. More details are available. I have some brochures for everybody. Please pick it up while you go. And we plan to expand it across the state, which is more than 4,500 colleges in next 1 to 2 years. Thank you so much.
Professor T.G. Sitaram.
Sabhi ko namaskar. As we stand on the cusp of disruptive innovation and technologies in this new world order, it is our privilege and also responsibility to discuss on the role of sustainability. Friends, today marks a very significant milestone in our educational journey, the 4th anniversary of the National Education Policy. So we are here to celebrate this pivotal moment, and it is also essential to reflect on the transformative impact this policy had on our education system. So let me briefly tell about what is All India Council for Technical Education has done in this direction. One particular part I would like to highlight is on the sustainability skills, which can enhance the employability across various sectors, from renewable energy and green technology to sustainable agriculture and urban planning. AICTE, jointly with NCVET, had brought out a capacity building framework in collaboration with the institutions across. This comprehensive framework aims to prepare a skilled workforce proficient in green energy technologies. For example, professionals skilled in green energy engineering such as solar, wind, hydrogen, or sustainable business practices are in high demand as companies seek to align their operations with environmental regulations and consumer expectations. So in the line of effective industry-academia interaction, which is very crucial, all of us agree, for bridging the gap between the theoretical knowledge and the practical applications. So we, as part of the NEP 2020 implementation at AICTE, emphasize there is an urgent need for symbiotic relation between the academia and the industry to drive innovation and sustainability. This collaboration can take many forms, such as AICTE internship. All of you know that we have a largest portal beyond the engineering schools and engineering colleges. And then AICTE career portal, which also emphasizes. And then recently we have launched AICTE Proficience, where a new scheme which will talk about skilling using the engineering college infrastructures and teachers. Joint research projects such as inter-institutional biomedical innovations, jointly with CCAMP, and industry-sponsored courses. So by engaging with industry professionals as professors of practice, so what we have done is we have gone a little beyond. So we also started talking about assistant professor of practice, associate professor of practice, so that some of these areas are very new, wherein younger people have to be brought in rather than just waiting for 15 years. So this is a new policy AICTE has brought already, rolled out. And similarly, I would like to talk about, including curriculum. So we have actually a little earlier than NEP. So our curriculum actually talks about integration of environmental science, SDG goals in 2018 itself, before even 2020. And then Angiras, with an aim to help government authorities and private organizations across the globe to upcycle non-recyclable waste material into functional and eco-friendly building materials such as bricks and paver blocks using Angiras green waste management technology. See, this actually, these young people are giving a lot of motivation. So another one small example before I conclude, that Electromotion E-Vidyut Vehicle Private Limited, founded by 2018 SIH winner Surya Pratap Singh, focuses on sustainable transportation solutions by designing and manufacturing electrical vehicles that produce zero emissions. The company integrates renewable energy sources like solar, solar power into their charging infrastructure and promoting energy efficiency with advanced battery management systems and emphasizing recycling and reusability of materials. So this is what we actually inculcate through this hackathon among the young people. So these are very, very essential. Innovation and the startups are the key. Through AICTE's efforts, today we have more than 10,000 patents filed by our young people across the institutions. AICTE supports them also. In addition to that, we have 6,600 startups in various, I only gave the 2 examples. So if you look at it, India's historical approach to sustainability is deeply rooted in our ancient wisdom and practices, which emphasize living in harmony with nature. So I think this is not a new topic for many of the Indians, but we need to somehow now bring into our curriculum, and also the prospects of jobs are plenty anyway through this. So we need to look for connecting these people through the sustainable practices. So let us heed the words of environmentalist and educator David R., who said, the most radical thing any of us can do is to stay fully present to what is happening in the world. So we have to be realistic and on ground to see what is happening around us. Then only we can be practicing the sustainable practices. So with the last but not the least, let us embrace the vision of sustainable, inclusive and prosperous India with determination and unity. Thank you. Namaskar.
Shri PM Prasad, CMD Coal India.
Good morning and namaskar to all. Respected dignitaries on the dais and dignitaries respected of the dais. I am the only man from industry here. While we are all talking on energy management, sustainable practices, we are mining coal below the earth, and right now in India we are 54% of this thermal energy, and as the goal set by Honorable PM, by 2070 we have to be net zero. What is seen in COVID times, when the country is stopped, the transportation is stopped, mining is not stopped. You have to see, my request to the respected professors and respected faculties, academicians, when country is stopped, transportation, coal mining is running, power plants are running. Still you can see the better skies. I was at Dhanbad at that time, CMD BCCL. Clear skies were visible for that first period of the lockdown. So it is not that only coal mining, it is a sense of responsibility. Honorable UGC chairman is also there. Sense of responsibility means smaller countries like Thailand, Malaysia are cleaning their rivers, and we are unable to clean our rivers. At least we are trying to clean one river just in conceptual stage, Damodar River, which is from 3 subsidiaries flowing, CCL, BCCL, ECL in 2 states, Jharkhand and West Bengal. We are conceptualizing, we are working with IIT, ISM, from industry to academic institutes like Kharagpur, BHU, from NCL coalfield. And lot of thinking is very much essential, as Director IIT Delhi has told. Not only in higher education, it has to come from primary education. Now this topic, we are already late. In India, if you see, 1980, the Forest Act has come. After 33 years of our independence, 86 Environment Act has come. After the act, in 30 years, you cannot see wonders. It needs some time, people to understand, just like Swachh Bharat, it is a mass awareness has created. Similarly, this water from our mine waste, we are channelizing, and 11 lakh villagers we are feeding. There is still scope, we can bring it to 40, 50 lakhs. So from our side, we are nowadays this business responsibility and sustainable practices, every board meeting we have to disclosure. Previously it was not there. It's hardly 1 year old, we are working on it. Similarly, we are doing by trucks transport. Now we are converting by conveyors, reducing the carbon emissions. We have taken study by NEERI, SIMFER. It is proven. If you reduce the truck loading, wagon loading, and we put the mechanization, so digitalization era with technology in place, if we implement, definitely we can have a responsible mining, and the panelist has given rightly coal to chemical. Coal to gasification, we have already invited tender, we are going with BHEL. The technology in coal, China, it is 200 million ton, they are doing very successfully. So we are having vast reserves of coal. Well, you see, only we are having 0.5 to 0.75% of the reserves of petroleum and natural gases worldwide. So we don't have that much plenty of reserves. If you can make successfully coal to gasification, coal to chemical, though it is costing to the, we should get subsidies from the government. In the years to come, I am hopeful with responsible mining, we can cut down carbon emissions, we can create carbon sinks. This green credit program, it is just launched in this 100 days back by MOF, where we can take forest for afforestation anywhere, already deforested land, and we can put our plantation along with Forest Research Institute, Dehradun. After 2 years, we can get the green credit points. This is also just started, responsible practice is being started by MOF, and we are practicing, we are taking part actively. We have already taken 2,200 hectares, we have indented for 5,000 hectares. One side, though we are uprooting plants, other side, we want to plant so that the balance remains. So other than this coal mining also, over the years, there is deforestation is there, for maybe for livelihood, for other things. So we have, as a collective, if we work, right from primary education, if this thing implemented, it can be beneficial by creating mass awareness. I have a privilege to see the unveiling of so many things, and sub-junior level, junior level, the models. It should come, the sustainability chapters and all. From industry, we will work, though we are late, but you should appreciate 1774 from Raniganj coalfield, 250 years back coal mining started, but due to this mutiny wars, first 100 years it was not much mining. From 1900s, mining has started, and this railway lines and this carbon emissions. Yes, definitely we are at number 3 after China. Combined Europe, we are more. So there is urgent need to cut down the carbon emissions. We have to be responsible as a miner. So Coal India is also diversifying into solar. Coal India is diversifying into critical. So we also, in these 30 years, we have to see that our business, we have to diversify, and we have to make it a sustainable model. And Coal India will be ready to part with any institute, so that from our side to promote this sustainability, I can assure HRD Ministry, anytime we will be ready, and whatever to be done from us, we will be there. Thank you in giving me an opportunity.
So we have an interesting mix of panelists here from industry, and an administrator representing the state, and a state university, and an IIT director, and also a regulator. So let us make use of our rest of the time that we have until 12:30 by having a discussion. I would like to request from the audience, anybody who would like to speak, you may please raise your hand so that the microphone will be passed on to you, and you can put your brief question or suggestion so that our panelists can answer. So sir, we will start with you. Is there a microphone? Can we pass it on? Yeah.
So thank you very much, sir. My name is H.C. Pokhriyal. I am on the Board of Governors, IIT Roorkee, and worked as a teacher in the University of Delhi also. Simple question in this whole context. I have gone through draft as well as the NEP 20 very carefully, and many times I submitted even before the Honorable Chairperson of the GUC. Can we, next time onwards, it's a Yaksha Prashna, can we add, like the title is Industry Academia Collaboration, can we do it industry, academia and community collaboration? Because unless you make explicit, things will not come. This is my suggestion, sir. If we see the policy doc here, there are a lot of interesting concepts like seva, like community-based participatory researches, which are basically talking about the experiential learning initiative. My only request to all the panelists, and there are heads of the institutions which govern the general education as well as technical education. If we add this thing, then it will make a great difference. I understand that in 2009, in the area of community governance, there was a Nobel laureate. She got the Nobel Prize. Her name is Ostrom. So my only point is that we can add this academia and request. UGC has initiated a very important document as per the 19.5 section of the NEP. It is called Institutional Development Plan. So we can request all the heads of the institutions who are working in their areas to add one chapter on this exclusively, which can help in really designing the curriculum, as dear Vikas is saying about all these things that we can add, and we can really institutionalize this synergy. Till date we are talking about industry academia collaboration. Next time we will be talking about industry, academia and community.
Yes, sir. Yes.
Coordination. Thank you. Thanks for
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Community engagement also is an important component of our education now. UGC has come up with the guidelines. From that perspective, I would like to request Professor Neelima Gupta to please tell us what she is doing.
Thank you, and thank you, Dr. Pokhriyal. I think it's a very important aspect as to how the universities can deal with community development. And I also feel that most of the universities, they are looking into this aspect as to how we can involve our students, like we in our university also, Dr. Hari Singh or Sagar Central University, we are also having community programs where what Dr. Pokhriyal says is that together with academia, industry and community, I think it's a very viable type of suggestion which he has given. And the universities, those universities who have not looked into this aspect, especially during the final year and in the convocations also, which I have been stressing, that we start speaking about different types of curricula and study pattern. And at that time, we should also train our students. It should be the responsibility of the universities that how we can train our students to become society-friendly citizens. And this we can do only through our academic programs. I'm sure that the universities, they will take this up seriously. I'm thankful to Dr. Pokhriyal. Thank you so much.
Can we also have a microphone here to the panelists so that they don't have to walk all the way here? Sir, please go ahead.
Yeah, I am Professor Prabhat Ranjan, currently Vice Chancellor of D.Y. Patil International University in Pune. I was also Executive Director of TIFAC in Delhi from 2013 to 18, during which Technology Vision 2035 roadmaps were prepared. I have one information and one question actually. One information that as, I was Chairman of Ministry of Coal Committee on Carbon Capture and Utilization. And under that, a plan to connect NTPC capturing carbon and connecting to ONGC oil wells, so enhanced oil recovery plant. I'm not sure how far it has progressed, but maybe sometime we can take it up. Second is that Dr. Rangan Banerjee is here, who was chairing the Technology Vision 25 energy sector document that IFA is preparing. And if you look at COP28 recently, we have talked about tripling the nuclear energy by 2050. And recently in budget also a small modulator have been talked about. But nuclear fusion, which we had actually put in the original draft, probably has not come into. Nuclear fusion has become very, very important part of climate change activities. And many countries have joined hands, including US, Canada, UK, everybody separated out nuclear fusion and nuclear fission. The nuclear world has been separated out. India, there is still a lot of confusion. Private industry is thriving in many places. So we need to focus on nuclear fusion. Thank you.
Right. Thank you very much. This side, yeah, please pause it there. Yeah.
Thank you so much, sir. Uh, I'm Dhananjay Singh. I'm currently the Member Secretary of Indian Council of Social Science Research. At ICSSR, of course, we have started this initiative of involving the non-academic members in research projects, and especially empirical research projects, obviously making them participants, in fact, in this, because since you mentioned research, of course, is crucial to this whole objective of attaining SDGs. My question is different though. My question is this, that in terms of our own traditions, we have not, is perhaps better to say that we're not integrated with Prakriti, but we are part of Prakriti. And all our philosophical systems, all our oral systems, traditions have an ingrained sense of growing with Prakriti. You had a wonderful quote from the Upanishads, of course. Taittiriya Upanishad say that the self is same in ant and elephant and human. Is it not possible that in our curriculum, through diverse fields of knowledge, are not called discipline because we are in different time altogether with NAP, in all diverse fields of knowledge that we seek our students to pursue, there should be an ingrained element made compulsory from the Indian traditions, whether it is the philosophical tradition, and philosophy should be made core of it. Even at UNESCO, they put an emphasis of bringing a philosopher and finding answers to some of the questions that relate to different sectors. Obviously, my pinpoint, I'm so sorry for taking more time, my precise point is this, that to make Bharatiya philosophy, Bharatiya darshan, whether in text or in practice, a core part of our curriculum, each unit. And obviously that evolves from the students' living experience as well as the intellectual tradition. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. Let us direct this difficult question to Professor Rangan Banerjee.
I think, historically, we have a culture, we have a tradition. Beyond that, there has been a way in which science and technology has evolved. We need to look into the history and integrate it, but this will not happen by mandate alone. This has to happen with each subject when we look at it and then see how, even if you look at buildings, you see buildings initially, there was a passive, we used to use natural light and we used to use the natural elements so that the comfort conditions were met. Subsequently, the whole thing was you close everything out and you have glass and you have air conditioning. Clearly that is now, today we see it is unsustainable. So we have to do this, we have to imbibe it. There is a philosophical construct in all of this, you are absolutely right. And this has to be done where each of the domain experts needs to look back at history, see what are the things and then integrate. But I think it is not just enough to do this as part of saying that, okay, we will do this and mandate it. It has to be where we have to understand and see those elements and pick up those elements which are consistent with modern understanding and then filter this. I think maybe Professor Sitaram.
The value of Indian knowledge system we have taken actually, extensively, and we are already trying to put that in the curriculum itself. Each course they should come rather than as a separate item. So there are attempts already which is happening, but all these things we want to take some time, because it has to be practiced. We have to also develop respect to textbooks, so which is also in that process. So I assure you, I think we will be moving in that direction slowly. Just to answer the previous question on community engagement, Unnat Bharat Abhiyan is also being taken to all the institutions today. So every institution has 5 villages adopted. The kids are also going to spend some time in those villages, identify the problems and societal issues, and try to solve or give a solution from their own angle, as part of the reports or the projects. And maybe from there, a lot of innovation, startups are also can come in. Thank you.
Right. Please give the microphone to JSS Academy.
Thank you, sir. I'm Dr. Surinder Singh, the Vice Chancellor of JSS Academy of Education Research, Mysuru. I have got one suggestion and one query. My one suggestion is that, as Mr. Prasad very aptly mentioned, that he is the only person from industry in this forum, whereas overwhelming, I think the emphasis nowadays is on industry-academia collaboration, and there is just a huge gap. So when we can expect that industry representatives from ASSOCHAM, FICCI, or CII, they could also be part of this panel discussion, because we would like to hear more from the industry that why our students are not industry ready. Why industry has to retrain our students and they pay them less salary because our students, and this is basically a disadvantage to the students, because they are spending a lot of money for the education, but our system is not getting them and making them industry ready. So that is one suggestion. When we can look forward to more overwhelming presence of industry in these types of panel discussions, so that we can hear from what is the gap and how to address it. This is one. Secondly, also I would like to know how much is industry engagement, embedding of the industry in framing of the policy by the UGC for the higher education. Thank you.
Right. Shri Prasad.
Sir, in case from Coal India, we give 2 to 3 types of trainings. One is vocational training for the undergraduate students, diploma holders. Second is we provide apprenticeship. In FY24, we have given 7,200 apprenticeship training. The problem is, after completion of apprenticeship, so last 5 years, there is an accumulation. 30,000 persons are trained, but they are unable to get jobs. We cannot deploy, but they have to realign. Once we give in fitter and turner, they have to get job on their own. Now, in this year, we have again sanctioned 350 posts for internship of chartered accountancy, CS, ICWA, who have passed inter, CA inter. After inter, they can work with us for 1 year. We will pay 25,000 per month. That we have recently passed through board. So such schemes are there, sir, for
right.
for public.
Yes.
So I think, I mean, of course, we could have more industry people on the panel. But there are models where, for instance, Indian Oil Corporation approached us and we co-created a curriculum for their middle level industry to look at energy transition. The idea was we worked and they spent a week at IIT Delhi, then they went back to their industry, and then we had another 1 week. So I think we need to find new ways to work together with industry
To define what is needed for the future. Right. Both had to work hand in hand. After him, Shri Banwal. And then we had to close the session.
Thank you, sir. This is educational planning. Just one question. So far, sustainable education and curriculum is concerned, this is already being done. But one question a series of also conduct in states, and people ask that if we do industry ages or collaboration, what about social sciences and humanities? One is, of course, point was already raised by one of community engagement could be one, which can be one of the possible areas with regard to social sciences and humanities.
Right.
Can there be a possibility of creating a space for, say, social sciences and humanities and linking this to on industry academia collaboration?
Thank you, sir. Thank you for your suggestion. Shri Banwal here. Yeah. Please go ahead.
So I think, there is a space. If you look at, for instance, in the energy transitions, and you look at vulnerability, sections are going to be affected. Analyzing what is happening, many of the industry are also spending CSR spend. Understanding what that CSR spend is doing to that sector. So I think when we engage with reality, it is not just the domain of science and engineering. There are many, many domains where social science and humanities actually has a role. And I think we should actually define that, because society is evolving. There is a transition. Some people will lose, some people will gain. What kind of impacts are happening? This is not something which scientists and engineers will be able to give you the answers to.
Right. Shri Banwalji.
Yeah, my question is related to some kind of policy. Actually, I worked as industry secretary and mine secretary in government of Jharkhand. And I have seen in promotion of industry, we have huge emphasis on output, business, etc. And now I see education here. I see a lot of emphasis on education curriculum, sustainability, etc. The one big difference I find is we are giving huge emphasis on sustainability in education curriculum. And most of the time we see once you get a job, you stop education actually. You just don't study because whole focus of the industry is on the business output. So here, since we are talking of industry academia collaboration, and industry is also keen on sustainability, can't we think of having a curriculum for industry when our NEP talks about continuous learning, learning throughout the life, re-skilling, upskilling, etc. So while a person joins the industry, from the first day to next 30 years he is in the industry, how he adjusts to the sustainability requirement. Can academia or academic institutions think of sector-specific, business-specific curriculum for those who are in the industry? And industry can also think of, at a regular interval, training, retraining of their officers, staff on these sustainability. And I think we are talking too much about the job, industry academia collaboration. Can we think of the curriculum collaboration for the industry requirement, and industry can it think of using the academic institutions to build the sustainability in their training, retraining programs on a continuous basis? Thank you.
Right. Thank you very much, Shri Banwalji. Let us close our session with that positive note. I would like to thank the panelists and also the keynote speaker and all the dear colleagues who are part of this session. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. As we have come to the end of this session, I would like to thank our panelists and moderator for their invaluable contribution and active participation. I hope today's discussion have provided you all with deeper insight. Now I would all request you to proceed for lunch in the basement of the Ashoka Hall. Thank you. Have a good day.